Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by telling you something bold. When God has his hand on a woman's life, no danger, no darkness, and no devil can stop her. She may walk through storms, but she won't drown. She may face fire, but she won't burn. She may face opposition, but she will rise every time because she is not standing alone. Heaven is standing with her. Today, I want to give you 12 signs that God has saved her from every danger. These are not just ordinary signs. These are divine fingerprints that show heaven has been protecting, covering, and guiding her all along. They said she wouldn't make it. They said the weight was too heavy, the pain too much, the pressure too intense. But look at her now. She's still standing. That alone is a miracle. See, what was meant to destroy her became the very thing that developed her strength. Every attack was supposed to bury her, but instead it built her. Every season of heartbreak was supposed to break her down, but instead it shaped her into the warrior she is today. Think about it. How many storms has she walked through that should have taken her out? How many nights did she cry when nobody was watching, only to wake up the next morning, wipe her tears, and keep moving forward? That's not weakness, that's power. That's evidence that there's something inside her greater than anything that comes against her. When the enemy tried to crush her spirit, she discovered a new level of courage. When life threw its hardest punches, she found strength she didn't know she had. When the weight of the world tried to press her down, she stood a little taller. Every battle became a training ground. Every wound became a lesson. Every scar became a testimony. And here's the truth. The fact that she's still standing is proof that she is dangerous to the darkness. Because weak people don't scare the enemy, but a woman who refuses to quit shakes the ground she walks on. She was supposed to be a victim, but she became a victor. She was supposed to stay down, but she learned how to rise again and again. Every setback only made her come back stronger. Every betrayal taught her discernment. Every disappointment pushed her closer to her destiny. She doesn't just survive, she transforms. She takes what was meant for evil and turns it into fuel. She takes the pain and uses it as a platform. She takes the opposition and uses it to build her faith muscles. Look at her. Her walk has a new strength. Her eyes carry a fire. Her voice carries authority. She doesn't flinch at every challenge anymore. She doesn't panic at every problem, because she's been through enough to know that storms don't last forever and trouble doesn't have the final say. There were moments when she almost gave up. Moments when the pressure was too much. Moments when the pain felt unbearable. But something deep inside of her whispered, "Get up. Keep going. Don't quit now." Then she listened. That's why she's here today. Not because it was easy. Not because she never fell, but because she refused to stay down. Her survival is not ordinary, it's divine. It's not just that she made it through, it's how she made it through. With every battle, she discovered resilience. With every loss, she discovered gratitude. With every attack, she discovered a greater purpose. And now, standing here, she is living proof that no weapon formed against her was able to prosper. Her presence is powerful because it tells a story of endurance, a story of victory, a story that says, "I went through the fire, but I did not burn. I walked through the flood, but I did not drown. I faced giants, but I did not fall." And that story inspires anyone who sees her to believe that they too can rise no matter what comes against them. Have you ever wondered why certain doors in your life slammed shut so hard it felt like rejection was written all over it? She had. She remembers the opportunities she begged for, the relationships she prayed would last, the plans she thought were perfect, and how every single one of them ended with a closed door. At first she cried, she questioned, she asked, "Why me?" But later she discovered something powerful. Those closed doors were never punishment. They were protection. Think about it. What if the thing she thought she wanted so badly would have destroyed her peace? What if the relationship she thought she needed would have delayed her purpose? What if the job, the friendship, the opportunity she cried over was actually a trap dressed as a blessing? Every closed door was a divine, not this way, not this person, not this path. She began to see that closed doors are not rejections. They are redirections. Every time life said no, heaven was whispering, I have something better. And sometimes the only way to move her toward that better was to let the wrong thing fall apart. When one door slammed shut, another one opened, and it was always greater than what she lost. She didn't understand it in the moment because pain never makes sense while you're in it. But looking back now, she can see the hand of God guiding her, keeping her, saving her from what she couldn't see coming. The people who walked away from her, that was protection. The friendships that ended suddenly, that was protection. The opportunities that slipped through her fingers, that was protection. Every time she thought she was being abandoned, she was actually being rescued. And now she doesn't panic when a door closes. She doesn't collapse when something doesn't go her way. She doesn't cry over what left her life because she understands that if it closed, it wasn't meant to be hers. If it ended, it wasn't built to last. If it disappeared, it was making space for something greater. Her faith became unshakable because she realized that closed doors are proof of a bigger plan at work. She stopped begging for doors to open and started trusting the timing of the right ones. She started believing that if it takes force to open, it probably isn't hers. She started thanking God not only for what he gave her, but also for what he kept her from. Every closed door taught her discernment. Every no taught her patience. Every detour taught her trust. And now when something ends, she doesn't just see loss. She sees protection. She sees guidance. She sees a future she hasn't reached yet pulling her forward. The doors that closed weren't just about what she lost. They were about what she was being saved from. Toxic people left before they could break her heart. Worse, dangerous paths were blocked before they could derail her destiny. Wrong choices were interrupted before they could leave her with permanent regret. And today she walks with a new kind of confidence. Not because everything went her way, but because she has seen enough to know that a closed door is not the end of her story. It's just the beginning of a better chapter. Every closed door was a shield, a warning, a hidden rescue mission working in the background of her life. Have you ever seen someone standing in the middle of a storm, but somehow they're calm? That's her. The wind is howling, the waves are crashing, the noise is deafening, but she isn't moved. She isn't panicking, she isn't breaking down, she isn't losing her mind because peace guards her heart. This isn't ordinary peace, the kind that comes when life is easy. No, this is unshakable, supernatural peace that shows up when everything else is falling apart. She has been through enough chaos to know that worry doesn't fix anything, fear doesn't solve anything, panic doesn't heal anything. So instead of letting her heart be a battlefield, she lets it be a sanctuary. She understands that peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of trust. She remembers the nights when anxiety tried to keep her awake, when fear tried to strangle her faith, when panic whispered, "This is the end." But somewhere deep inside, she heard a still, small voice saying, "Be still. I've got this." And she held on to that voice like an anchor in the storm. People wonder how she keeps smiling when life hits hard. They wonder how she keeps her head up when things are uncertain. They wonder how she doesn't lose her cool when everything seems out of control. What they don't see is the battle that takes place in her mind. The choice she makes every single day to guard her heart, to protect her peace, to trust that no storm lasts forever. When drama comes knocking, she doesn't let it take residence. When chaos tries to enter her mind, she shuts the door. When negativity shows up, she chooses silence over reaction, because she knows that her peace is her power and she refuses to give that power away. Her calmness isn't weakness, it's strength under control. It's a statement to the world that says, I will not be shaken. Her peace is loud even though it doesn't make a sound. It silences fear. It silences doubt. It silences the lies that try to tell her she's alone. She has learned that the storm outside can't destroy her unless she lets it inside. And so she guards her heart like a treasure chest. She protects her thoughts like they are gold. She chooses faith over fear, gratitude over complaining, stillness over panic. There are seasons when her heart was a war zone, when stress, fear, and pain fought for control. But she fought back. She filled her mind with hope. She spoke life over her situation. She reminded herself that if she made it through before, she'll make it through again. And now she carries that peace wherever she goes. When others are stressed, she becomes their calm. When others are anxious, she becomes a steady voice. When others are afraid, she becomes a living example that peace is possible even in the storm. Her peace doesn't mean she has it all figured out. It means she knows who is fighting for her. She may not have all the answers, but she knows she is not walking alone. That's why her heart is unshaken. That's why her spirit stays anchored. That's why her steps stay steady, even when the ground beneath her feels unstable. There are dangers she knows about, and then there are the ones she never saw coming. The silent ones. The invisible ones. The ones that were waiting for her around the corner, ready to take her out before she even knew they were there. And yet somehow she walked right past them unharmed. Somehow she made it out alive. Somehow she escaped what could have been her worst nightmare. That's not luck, that's divine intervention. Think about it. There were moments when she didn't even realize what was happening behind the scenes. People who smiled to her face but had plans to hurt her behind her back. Their traps never caught her. Situations that could have wrecked her life before she even had a chance to see them coming. She was pulled out just in time. Roads she almost took, decisions she almost made, relationships she almost stepped into, all of them could have led to heartbreak, to destruction, to disaster. But something blocked it. Something stopped it. Something turned her in a different direction. And here's the thing, she only realized later what she was saved from. At the time, it didn't make sense. At the time, she might have felt frustrated, confused, even angry that things didn't go the way she planned. But looking back now, she sees it clearly. She wasn't just being delayed, she was being delivered. There were silent dangers waiting to harm her, but she never even got close enough for them to touch her. That's why she has a new level of gratitude. Because she knows she wasn't just saved from what she saw, she was saved from what she never knew about. This is why she walks with so much humility and strength. Because she knows that it wasn't her wisdom that saved her. It wasn't her intelligence that rescued her. It was grace. Grace stood in the gap when she didn't have the discernment to see what was coming. Grace redirected her path when she was about to step into the wrong place at the wrong time. Grace shielded her when she didn't even know she needed protection. She remembers near misses, the accident that almost happened but didn't, the phone call she almost answered that would have pulled her into drama, but went unanswered. The person she almost trusted, but who was exposed just in time. These moments are proof that she is being guided by something greater than herself. Every time she was spared from danger, her faith grew stronger. Every time she escaped something harmful, her confidence in her purpose became unshakable. Because if she is still here, if she survived everything she didn't even know was coming for her, then she must be here for a reason. Now she moves differently. She trusts the delays. She respects the detours. She listens when her spirit says wait or walk away. She no longer fights every closed path because she knows some paths lead to pain she never needs to experience. She escapes silent dangers that could have stolen her joy, her peace, her future. She doesn't take that lightly. She lives every day aware that her survival wasn't accidental. And she carries herself with the quiet strength of someone who knows she has been saved more times than she can count, even from the things she never saw. Her faith was not built in comfort. It was built in fire. Every time life tried to crush her, something inside of her refused to die. Every time she faced a battle, she came out stronger, wiser, more determined. Her faith isn't fragile, it's fierce. It doesn't collapse under pressure, it rises higher. She has been through seasons where everything seemed to be falling apart, but instead of losing hope, she chose to believe even harder. She has faced prayers that seemed unanswered, but instead of walking away, she leaned in deeper. She has seen doors close, people walk out, dreams get delayed, but instead of letting it kill her spirit, it built her endurance. Every challenge became a stepping stone. Every hardship became a training ground. Every heartbreak became a lesson that stretched her faith wider. And here's the secret. The reason her faith keeps rising is because every time she survived something she thought would break her, it proved to her that she is never alone. Her tears watered the soil where her trust grew. Her pain became the pressure that pushed her into a deeper relationship with God. Her confusion became the classroom where she learned patience. And now when storms come, she doesn't panic like she used to. She remembers what she's already come through. She remembers how she made it out last time. She remembers how she stood when she thought she would fall. Her faith is not just a belief, it's an unshakable knowing that no matter what happens, she will rise again. She has been knocked down enough times to know that staying down is not an option. She has been disappointed enough times to know that delays do not mean denial. She has been tested enough times to know that every trial is shaping her into someone stronger than she was before. And the beautiful thing is that her faith doesn't just stay the same, it grows. Every setback pushes her closer to her purpose. Every loss draws her nearer to the one who sustains her. Every difficulty strengthens her spiritual muscles. She has learned that faith is not built when everything is easy, it's built when everything is shaking. She has discovered the power of persistence. Even when she doesn't feel like believing, she chooses to believe anyway. Even when fear knocks, she answers with faith. Even when doubt whispers, she drowns it out with declarations of truth. Her faith has become louder than her fear, stronger than her feelings, bigger than her circumstances. There is a fire inside her now that no storm can put out. There's a confidence inside her that no enemy can steal. There's a hope inside her that no setback can crush. Her faith rises every time life tries to push her down, every time the enemy tries to silence her, every time darkness tries to intimidate her. She doesn't just survive the battle, she comes out with greater faith than when she went in. And because her faith keeps rising, her vision keeps expanding, her courage keeps growing, and her steps keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. She is living proof that a tested faith is a stronger faith, and every trial only makes her more unstoppable. There was a season when she thought losing people meant losing herself. She held on tightly to relationships, friendships, and connections that were secretly draining her spirit. She tried to fix people who didn't want to be fixed, She tried to keep people who were never meant to stay. She tried to hold together what was falling apart until life taught her that not everyone is supposed to go with you where you're going. Some people were assignments for a season, not a lifetime. Some were lessons, not life partners. Some were there to teach her how to set boundaries, how to value herself, how to recognize when love isn't real. And as painful as it was, those people had to go. At first, it felt like betrayal. At first, it felt like rejection. At first, it felt like she was being abandoned. But with time, she realized that every person who left was part of a bigger plan. A cleansing of her environment, a clearing of her path, a divine act of protection. There were voices in her life that were too loud, drowning out her purpose. There were people around her who secretly celebrated her failures more than her victories. There were friends who smiled to her face but sabotaged her behind her back. And one by one, they started to fall away. It hurt. She cried. She questioned why it was happening all at once. But what she didn't see in the moment was that removing those people was making room for something better. Their exit created space for her growth. Their absence gave her peace. Their departure allowed her to finally breathe. Toxic people can keep you stuck in cycles of drama, stuck in patterns of pain, stuck in places you've outgrown. But when they left, it was like a weight lifted off her shoulders. She could finally hear her own thoughts again. She could finally dream without being doubted. She could finally walk without being held back. And here's the truth, when God removes someone from your life, He knows something you don't. He sees what they're saying when you're not in the room. He sees what they're planning when you're not aware. He sees how their presence could hurt your destiny if they stay too long. So now, when people walk away, she doesn't chase them. When doors close on relationships, she doesn't break down like she used to. She has learned that what is meant for her will never have to be begged for, forced, or manipulated. If someone leaves, it means their chapter in her story is finished. This is why she values peace over popularity. She chooses healthy connections over toxic attachments. She refuses to lower her standards just to keep someone close. She no longer apologizes for protecting her space, her energy, her calling, because she knows that her destiny cannot afford the wrong company. The removal of toxic people was not punishment. It was preparation. It was proof that she was being positioned for the right voices, the right relationships, the right team to walk with her into her future. And now she carries herself differently, stronger, wiser, more discerning, because she has learned that losing the wrong people is never a loss. It is always a step closer. She used to be afraid of what tomorrow might bring. She used to lay awake at night playing out every worst case scenario, thinking about what could go wrong, worrying about how she would survive if things fell apart. Fear once had a grip on her mind, controlling her decisions, holding her back from taking risks, keeping her small when she was made to stand tall. But something changed. She realized that fear doesn't get to write her story. Now she walks with a boldness that turns heads. She looks at the future, not with trembling, but with expectation. She's not waiting for disaster. She's expecting destiny. She isn't worried about what might fall apart. She's excited about what will come together. Her fear of the unknown has been replaced with faith in the unseen. Every storm she survived taught her that she is stronger than she thought. Every closed door reminded her that she was being redirected, not rejected. Every delay showed her that waiting doesn't mean losing, it means preparing. So now, when she looks ahead, she sees opportunity where she used to see obstacles. People People ask her how she stays so confident when life is so unpredictable. The truth is, she isn't confident because she controls everything. She's confident because she trusts the one who does. She has seen enough to know that every twist, every turn, every detour is working for her good. She no longer fears the unknown because she knows her steps are ordered. When fear tries to creep back in, she doesn't run from the future, she runs toward it. She dares to dream bigger. She dares to take the leap. She dares to believe that her best days are still ahead of her. Fear used to silence her voice, but now she speaks life over herself, over her future, over every situation that once made her anxious. She moves with courage even when she can't see the whole path. She doesn't wait for perfect conditions. She takes the first step, trusting that the rest will unfold when it's time. That's the kind of boldness that shifts the atmosphere. That's the kind of fearlessness that makes other people believe they can step out too. She understands that fear will always knock, but she doesn't have to open the door. Worry will always whisper, but she doesn't have to listen. Anxiety will always try to steal her peace, but she knows how to fight back. Her heart is steady because she's learned that no matter what comes her way, she will find a way through it. The future no longer intimidates her because she has survived too much to doubt her ability to overcome. She has faced the worst and discovered that it didn't destroy her. She has walked through darkness and seen that light still wins. She has faced seasons of uncertainty and seen that everything she needed was always provided at the right time. Now she walks like a woman who expects good things to happen. She dreams like a woman who knows nothing is impossible. She plans like a woman who believes her tomorrow will be greater than her yesterday. She wakes up ready, she steps out boldly, she refuses to let fear dictate how far she goes. She knows that if she's still here, it means there's more ahead, and she refuses to miss it because of fear. She doesn't just live, she radiates. Everywhere she goes, her presence speaks louder than her words. People who meet her feel something shift. They see the way she carries herself, the way she walks with quiet confidence, the way she smiles even after everything she's been through, and they can't help but be inspired. She doesn't have to tell everyone her story. Her survival is her testimony. Her strength is a message all by itself. There are women watching her from a distance, wondering how she keeps standing after so much pain. There are young girls looking up to her, learning that you can be strong and soft at the same time, that you can go through fire and still come out shining. There are friends and strangers alike who see her resilience and think, if she can make it, maybe I can too. She used to think her pain was pointless. She used to wonder why she had to go through so many battles. But now she sees it clearly. Every scar has a purpose. Every tear had a reason. Every struggle was shaping her into someone who could light the way for others. When she tells her story, it doesn't just inform, it ignites. It lights something inside the listener. It makes them believe that they too can rise from whatever they are facing. Her words carry weight because they aren't theory, they are lived experience. She's not speaking from a place of perfection. She's speaking from a place of redemption. Even her silence is powerful. When people watch her live with grace, when they see her refuse to let bitterness take root, when they watch her keep giving love in a world that tried to harden her, they are moved. She teaches without even trying, simply by the way she chooses to live. Her life is proof that brokenness can turn into beauty. Her life is proof that storms don't last forever. Her life is proof that healing is possible, that restoration is real, that strength can grow in the very place where pain once lived. And she doesn't inspire others by pretending everything is perfect. She inspires them by being real, by admitting she had moments when she almost quit, by sharing that she cried, she doubted, she stumbled, but she kept going. her transparency becomes someone else's courage. People leave her presence wanting to do better, wanting to believe again, wanting to fight a little harder for their own story. She doesn't just lift herself, she lifts the atmosphere around her. She walks into rooms and brings light, hope, and the reminder that nothing is too broken to be rebuilt. She has learned that inspiration is not about being untouchable. It's about being reachable. It's about showing others that you can be bruised and still beautiful, that you can be vulnerable and still victorious. She has become a living example that transformation is possible, that growth is possible, that rising again is possible, no matter how many times you've fallen.